I'm John Elides.
And I'm Noah Vaz, and today we're going to be talking about a topic of if having a higher GDP, if it correlates to having a higher or lower child mortality rate. So we're going in, what is GDP? GDP per capita is what we're looking at today, is the gross domestic product divided by the mid-year population. GDP is the sum of gross value added by all resident producers in the economy plus any product taxes and minus any subsidies not included in value of the products. It is calculated without making deductions for depreciation of fabricated assets or for depletion and degradation of natural resources. And this data is constant in 2010 US dollars.
Child mortality in these studies are considered any death of a child under the age of 5 years of age per 1,000 live births. And over the past 50 to 100 and even in a shorter time period, 30 years, incredible steps have been made to lower that rate of child mortality in all countries around the world. And that is because of treatments and much better technology readily available to families and children.
So we're going to go looking at these graphs really quick. This is in 2018. The green arrow is pointing at the United States. They're sitting around 50 to 70,000. And then you get the big red dot with the red arrow, that is China. They're sitting around 10, 12, 15,000. And then you have India in that last red dot, big red dot with the purple arrow showing around 2,000. And if we want to compare that to 1959, you can see that these countries have increased their GDP exponentially. US, about 30,000 on average, they've increased. China has increased dramatically, and India as well.
So, looking at child mortality around the world, we do believe that there is a correlation between income per capita or GDP per capita and the levels of child mortality in the country. And we believe there are a multitude of reasons and reasons behind this, and a few of them being government, climate, and conflicts, and more specifically in technology and healthcare, more available vaccinations and more available treatments offered to parents and children play a large role in the levels of child mortality in each respective country. So countries having a higher level of GDP, such as the USA, Canada, and most of Europe and Japan, have the lowest rates of child mortality, and the lowest rate being in Finland. But the United States has had 6.5 thousand deaths in 2018 of child mortality, and the countries that have the lowest, mostly in Africa, are suffering the most, and the worst child mortality rate being in Chad and Nigeria, with 117,000 deaths in 2018. And we really believe that as a result of such low GDP per capita, that they have less treatments available and less technological advances, meaning less access and to better treatments for children being born and parents of the children.
All right, so we're going to go into some of the reasons why the more developed countries have better mortality rates than others. These countries are well developed and have the budget, therefore they have better access to healthcare. This includes research or technology and things such as vaccinations, which help a huge deal, and especially in younger kids and infants, babies, as well as the people living in these well-developed countries are also able to buy better housing and have a constant source of food, water, and clothing.
So we took a look at child mortality rates and exports percent of GDP, and we found no correlation between the two. As since the 1950s and the current 2018 in this study, there have been the rates of child mortality have drastically declined, while the exports percent of GDP have really just about gone back and forth, up and down, not really changing that much. And so we believe that even in the lowest rates of child mortality ever in America, that its exports percentage of GDP was less than in years prior. So we find no correlation in between those two.
All right, so we're going to talk about the conclusion and final remarks. Our opinion on the topic of GDP as a driving factor to child mortality rates I believe so, and I believe John thinks the same as well. We think that it is a driving factor, just simply put, because the more money people have, the more they are able to take care of themselves, and the better the country is off economically, the better they're able to give their citizens better health care and able to keep those children, especially, alive when they're at their most vulnerable. Um, and we hope that in the future, the countries with the lower GDP will get help not only from other countries, but hopefully their government systems themselves will realize that these children, the numbers, it's no joke, and hopefully that they'll try and better themselves and increase their GDP to then give their citizens more money to give them better access to healthcare. Um, and that's pretty much it. That's the video. And thank you for watching.
Thank you.
All right. I was like, I ran out of stuff. I think we were so close that time.
I think you're still recording.
No, I stopped.
Oh, it's not?